Hi, everyone. This is Lisa from Work First New Jersey, and today I'm going to talk about a problem that I definitely have and that I think many others do, and that is procrastination. So procrastination is a real thing. A lot of us have difficulty putting things off. We have goals that we want to achieve. We have things that we want to accomplish, but we find a way to not work on those things and instead occupy ourselves with other things, and then that keeps getting put off, and it can cause a lot of frustration. I know that job seekers feel the same way about doing all the job seeking things they need to do to land a job, especially the parts they don't like to do, like writing about themselves to update your resume and profile, setting up networking calls to get job leads and to sell themselves, and setting up network calls to get job leads and to sell themselves. Why did I repeat that twice? Because I think that is the part of job seeking that people dread the most and that they have the most difficulty with and put off, and it can cause a lot of problems because it does not enable us to move forward. So one of the questions that we often get asked is, how do you complete tasks you don't want to do, but you know you need to do to move forward? And that's a great question. So these are some techniques that I've used that often work, but nothing is perfect. So maybe you use some of them sometimes and others other times, or a combination of them so that we can really get things done. So here goes. So one thing that I do is that I tell myself that I can do the task for 15 minutes, and if I want to stop at minute 16, then I can do so. Giving myself permission to stop sometimes is the key, because you can really do anything, even unpleasant tasks, for 15 minutes. But knowing that at minute 16, if you don't want to do it anymore, if you want to move on to something else, you're giving yourself permission to do so, can really be motivating to at least get in there and get started. The second thing that I like to do is ask myself if I'm procrastinating longer than it will take to do the task itself. So sometimes a task is a 10 or 15-minute task, but the act of thinking about it and putting it off and moving it forward in your calendar takes much longer than that. So you realize that you are wasting more time putting the task off than you would if you just completed it. And sometimes you just realize how foolish that is, and that can motivate you to do the task itself. The third tactic works mostly for phone calls that I need to make. Recently, most people do not answer their phones, especially if it's a number that they don't recognize. So I tell myself that no one will answer the phone, and I will most likely leave a message. Then I prepare with the message, knowing that I'm probably going to have to use it, but if the person picks up the phone, I can get the call completed. If not, I leave a message and then they will be calling me back. So by doing this, at least, again, I get the task started. If it's a task that will take a significant amount of time, I try to break it down into 15 to 30-minute chunks and use the tactics I've already talked about. So when you break it down into chunks, into smaller pieces, each part of it that you complete becomes a victory. When you're thinking of the task as a whole, sometimes it can be daunting because you're thinking of having to get all the way to the end. But if you've broken it down into pieces, each time you complete a piece, you can pat yourself on the back, feel pretty good about it, and then either move on to the next part or know that the next part will also not be so overwhelming when you get to it later on or tomorrow. Another tactic I will use is to tell myself I can't do anything else until I do the task I really need to do. And that's it. I just decide that I'm not moving forward. I'm not participating in other activities or even doing other work until I complete the task at hand. And then I just do it, and then it's done, and I can just move on. So as a general rule, I try to be realistic about how long it will actually take, and then just force myself to start. But when I'm having a hard time, these suggestions can be things that really can help when I find myself procrastinating. I hope this was helpful to you, and please check out our other videos on this channel.